Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hope TV for Sound Mind. My name is Brian Collier, your host, and I am so excited that you're back here with us for another amazing segment. Listen, I appreciate each of you. Listen, from the bottom of my heart, for everything that you've done in support of not just the Hope TV, but specifically Sound Mind. Our conversations have been engaging, and your participation is what makes that magical. So, as always, please tell me where you're watching from today, your city, your state. We want to say hello. In addition to that, share this right now with 5 people. Right now, go ahead, your sister, your auntie, your uncle, your best friend, your tech circle, whoever, share this with them. It's going to be a conversation you do not want to miss. As always, we bring some exceptional leaders in the conversation of mental and emotional health and wellness. And today is no different. Today, our guest, we will be on the couch today of Dr. Kanika Holloway. Dr. Holloway is the founder of Activating Wellness Within. It's a counseling center which supports individuals and couples improve the quality of their lives. She believes that like a pebble dropped in a pond, an individual's transformation will activate wellness, not only within themselves, but have a ripple effect onto their family. She has obtained her doctorate degree in counselor education and supervision, as well as her master's in community counseling from Mercer University. She received her bachelor's in Spanish from none other than FAMU. She has gained experience as a domestic violence shelter, community service, serving on community service boards, as well as substance abuse and mental health agencies. She's a mother, she's an adjunct professor, she's an author. Please welcome our guest today. We're going to sit on her couch, Dr. Holloway. Hello, my friend.
Hi.
How are you today?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much for inviting me to come and speak to your audience about going back to school
Listen,
and preparing for such.
Let me tell you, this is a real conversation. You know, all across America right now, that's one of the largest conversations. And so there are 2 types of people out there. There are individuals who are in the situation or have had to make the decision to send their children back to school, and they are in the school. Some are teachers, some are educators that are having to go back to work. And then on the other hand, you have some individuals who are able to teach from home and then are also having to become teacher parents for the first time in their life. So I want to engage in the conversation today on that first part. I want to talk about parents, students, employees, teachers who are dealing with fear and anxiety about returning to school. So can you just, with COVID already wreaking havoc in our minds and our hearts, and anxiety and fear is at an all-time high, Dr. Holloway, what do we say to those individuals who are preparing to enter schools or already have entered schools as teachers or they're or any part of education administration they're in, and they're experiencing fear and anxiety? How do we even start this conversation with them?
Good question. This is a time of high anxiety for a lot of individuals, not just students, but as you mentioned, teachers and parents as well. I just want to give an overall view of what anxiety is, since it sounds like we may be using that term quite a bit today. So anxiety starts with a thought in our mind. It is our body's natural response to a perceived or real threat. So if we see a dog, we are responding. If we think there's a dog, we are responding. The mind is responding to the thought, whether it is real or perceived. So let's put that in context with COVID-19. There's a lot of uncertainty. And so the anxiety will show up as an increased heart rate, a lot of worry, maybe muscle tension. There could be quick and shallow breathing. But the thing that is most important to do is to recognize that most of it is just a thought. So if you can think it, you can adjust your thinking to help lower or reduce the anxiety altogether. So To address the question is, for the students, they naturally have anxiety going back to school anyway, right? Teachers,
Yeah.
schedules. Maybe they had a break from bullies, right? Dealing with rumors and all sorts of that thing. But now they're having a new adjustment to social distancing, which will be a new idea for many of them inside of the school system. They will have to probably have some new protocol related to sanitary habits and hygiene, making sure that their hands are clean. I know that there's still a bit controversy about the mask wearing, but some school systems are ensuring that students wear them and not. And then the same thing for teachers. Teachers are conduits of making sure that classroom management is sound and making sure that they're delivering education in a manner that is um, healthy, right? Healthy
Yeah.
not in just the environment, but healthy for the mind and for each student. So
Yeah.
teachers may, especially if they're in the classroom, so managing new protocols that the county may have delivered. The parents may have their own anxiety. I know I have a client, he's in his 70s, but his daughter is a teenager, right? And so it's not just young adults young parents that may be dealing with the transition of the anxiety of coming home and possibly facing anxiety, but there are some older adults with young children. And in the African American family, there's a lot of elders that live in the home as well. So there is a lot of anxiety. And so being able to manage it and working through it and notice that it's really a thought that is creating the discomfort within ourselves.
What I think I hear you saying is that we have to change and adjust our perspective of even how we see COVID before we go into the situation.
Yeah, I think what is important is not only does it exist, but how can we navigate it? How can we empower ourselves? Can we boost our immune system? Right?
Mhm.
So if we're just sitting and playing the victim role, then we lose our power. But what can we actively do to shift our
Mm.
mindset so that we can be healthy mentally to deal and face the unknown? Because it's uncertainty. And that's what a lot of individuals are afraid of right now. Should I send my kids to school right now? And that is a tough question. Should they feel guilty about if they do? And the
Mm.
honest to God's truth is, you have to make the best decision for you and your family. Every family dynamic is different, dealing with learning disabilities, dealing with underlying medical conditions, dealing with the capability of maybe having your students stay at home. Every situation is different, and so being able to focus on what you're feeling comfortable with answering to yourself, because unfortunately there is no perfect answer.
Right,
It's
right,
an
right, right.
imperfect situation.
I love that you even brought up the statement of some parents feeling guilty, and I think that's a reality that that we haven't really talked about. How do we handle the stress of like making that difficult choice to return or not to return? And if we do, like, if we have to send our children back to school, what do we say to parents who may be feeling guilty about that decision?
What is your belief system about the guilt? I can't answer that.
Mm, work that out, Dr. Holloway. Work that out. That's good. That a little bit more.
I mean, that is not a one response answer. What is the belief system that is feeding the guilt?
Hmm.
Are you
Hmm.
basing it on what other people are doing? Are you basing it based on the fact that kids just should be in school? Or
Right.
do you have the capability of making adjustments? That is a really complex answer. That is
It
very
is,
complex.
but when we're having this discussion, like, so one, I'm not a parent. I have the honor of being an uncle to a host of kids, but I'm not a parent. But I can't even imagine, even my nieces and nephews right now, like in the conversations about them going to school, I'm not their primary caregiver, but helping
Sure.
their parents look through that, some of them have experienced guilt. Like, am I? And then some are just flat-footed. No, I'm not, or yes, I am. And so the community around, there are people who, like we said earlier, they already have their natural tendencies to be filled with anxiety. And I love what you said. You've got to change how you think about it. I'm loving this mantra that I'm getting about owning where you are and being able to determine that course. So speaking of that, I want to kind of go back to training your mind and coming back to a place where you're able to center yourself in your beliefs. For parents, what do you advise, especially with their children, how to mentally and emotionally prepare them to enter back into school if they are going?
I love that question. Bringing the children involved and being a part of the conversation is really critical. It depends on the age range and how you would communicate what COVID is, what protocols your family is putting in place, and how sometimes that may be contradictory to what the school system is doing. So first I would
Mm,
say, ask what they know. You might be surprised the misinformation that they have about COVID, or you might
mhm,
be surprised at how astute they are in
yeah,
understanding this novel virus, right? And then after you ask what they know, ask what they are concerned
mhm,
about returning to school, about being safe. One thing that you can do for the smaller kids that I really it I like because it's visual. So if you just get a
mhm,
clear bowl, fill it halfway with water, sprinkle some pepper in it, and
mhm,
say, imagine this pepper represents the virus, and get some dish detergent and drop a couple of the dish detergent inside of that bowl, and you will see how the pepper disperses. So
mhm,
having the conversation about keeping our hand clean is synonymous with how you're seeing
mhm.
this pepper move to the edges of the bowl. Some kids need to feel empowered. You can say, hey, a lot of kids like superheroes. Imagine you are the superhero and this virus is the thing that is attacking our planet right now. And you are a part of the, I don't know, the league. What is it? League of, I can't think of the name, but you're a part of this community that's going to help
Yes.
fight it. And the way to
Yeah.
fight it is washing your hands, wearing your mask,
Yeah.
right? Boosting your own immune system. We got to reduce
Yeah.
some sweets, right? Because sugar decreases our immune system. Exercising. Let's get some sunlight, 15 to 20 minutes a day, right? Eating some healthy vegetables. Putting them in a position of understanding of things that they can do is quite empowering because we don't
Yeah.
want to play the victim. We want to give them
Yeah.
something that they know to do, and you can also be an advocate to supporting them and how they can do it. Now,
That
there are
that's
some
really
kids
good.
that are naturally, thank you. There are some kids that are just naturally anxious, right?
Yeah.
Even before
Yeah.
COVID, there are some kids that are just anxious anyway. Parents too. Adults, we're not immune from having some anxiety, right? Um,
Hello.
Making the connection that anxiety is like a television channel. The
Hmm.
more attention you give it, it grows and you become stuck in it. So, having an idea of being able to change the channel, let's focus on something else,
Mhm.
right? Let's now focus on a beautiful distraction that's something that they're interested in. Or you can
Okay.
say, you know what, find some things that are purple in the room. So now they're circling around the room trying to find something purple. Now find something that's square. Now they're looking for all the squares. So you're just really bringing them back to center because their mind has started spinning out. So you're just bringing them back to center.
Mhm.
Also, with dealing with anxiety, teaching some breathing techniques. Would it be okay if I just kind of demonstrate a
Yes,
breathing
yes. Come
technique right
on,
now?
share this wealth. Share this
Okay.
wealth.
Okay, and so breathing, it interrupts our nervous system. So we want to be able
Mm,
to calm ourselves back down. So inhaling deeply through your nose and you're expanding your stomach. So inhale and you're holding it for 3, and then you're exhaling through your mouth like you're blowing through a straw, nice and slow for 6 seconds. So you're
mhm.
inhaling for 3 and exhaling slowly for 6 seconds. And you will do this a couple of times, 4 or 5 times, just to slow the brain down, to slow the mind down, so that you can get back grounded, right?
That's good.
Um, yeah, thank you.
That's real good. I even feel centered even right now, just in this dialogue, and I'm sure that that technique can be used in the workplace. It can be used anywhere because it's just a centering motion, and it's something that children can have no matter where they are. I mean, I really appreciate your aspect of even giving ownership to our students that are returning back that have to go in that environment, to give them that responsibility of calming their own selves down when they feel overwhelmed. I have a question for you. In all of these discussions that we've been having, especially about going back into the building, like physically being there, is there a perspective within the scope of mental and emotional health that is not being discussed in these conversations?
I would have to say listening to children,
Mm,
especially when it comes to going back to school,
mm-hmm,
allowing them to have space to feel heard. They
mm,
still may have to follow the directive of their parents or their teachers, but giving them an opportunity to voice their opinion, to talk
mm-hmm,
about their emotions, because oftentimes they're silenced.
mm-hmm,
And so
mm-hmm,
I think that is a part of mental health or emotional well-being that may be overlooked or not addressed enough, is just to allow children to have an opportunity to share.
mm-hmm. That's good. That that right there, because we do it. We silence them. Um, and I don't want to get beat up for saying this, but even growing up, like as a child, in our culture, you say too many things back. You're talking back, you're disrespectful, and you're not really able to have some conversations that express what you feel and how you think. So sharing that with us is definitely impactful. So we all, oh, you can go touch on that, Dr. Holloway.
I just had one more thought. And I wanted to share that because for every behavior, there's a reason for it, even as
Mm,
adults, even with children. For every behavior, there's a reason. So getting to
mm,
understand what is the reason. What, again, going back to that belief, what are they believing? What are they feeling? And this can goes for the teachers as well. What is the belief system that may be contributing to their own anxiety, the parents' own anxiety, the household anxiety? Anxiety can be a contagion, right? It can be
yep.
contagious, if infectious. And so being mindful that adults are the role models. We have to model that calm and centered place, even if we don't know all the answers. And sometimes it's okay to say, we're figuring it out. I need more
Yep.
time, because that's better than lying and giving the false sense of hope when you don't really have all the answers, because this is still something that is unfolding. We're still getting more information about it. And so just having the humbleness to say, let me get back with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're the role models and they can sense it. And even with parents and with teachers, if we're frustrated, it shows up, right?
Yeah.
We lose our motivation. So just being mindful that we're the role models and the children are watching us.
Mm-hmm. That's good. The children are watching us. The children are watching us. I feel that for about 3 people that's watching right now. The children are watching us. And behind every behavior, there is a reason behind it. Did I quote that correctly, Dr. Holloway?
Hmm?
That's good. That's
Yes.
good. I just need to mentally keep these nuggets. That's really good. So we all have maybe friends, a family member, or even colleagues during this time that are going physically back in the building. How do we emotionally support them during this time? What are some things that you would suggest that we can do to support them emotionally?
Check in on them. A conversation is invaluable, right?
Mhm.
Find out what resources they're needing. Oftentimes, teachers just don't have enough resources. Maybe it's something that they can tell you that they're needing to make their job a little bit more proficient. Share a laugh with them. Send them a funny video. It's some tense times right now. Laughter is so healing. Schedule a dinner date. Zoom. There's so many of these new platforms that are out right now where you can real time and have some space with your loved ones. Cook a meal together. Matter of fact, cook that teacher a meal and have it ready for them when they get off work and they can just pick it up. But really, exercise together. We can still socialize with distancing, maybe just getting out and getting some fresh air, and being in a part and being connected the best that we can right now. I would suggest for parents to meal prep if they can. If they can plan ahead. Planning takes a lot of the pressure off the week to week routine of things. You kind of have an idea of what you're preparing. You already went to the grocery store and got it. And get the children involved. Like, hey, I'm making this salad. It should last us 2 days. You cut these onions. I'll wash the lettuce, and we have something ready, right? We'll have something prepared to get us through the week. Right now, I know a lot of parents, well, I don't know, but there may be some parents, again, dealing with their own anxiety. So talking about it, it's okay to not be okay, but let somebody know. Talk to a therapist, talk to a friend, talk to someone in your church. Just getting it out is better than holding it in.
That's good. That's good. I want y'all to know that I did not pay Dr. Holloway to tell you to go get a therapist. Everybody needs Jesus and the therapist. Dr. Holloway, did I pay you to say that?
Not at all.
I need you. It's important to have a therapist during this time because you need a healthy place to, like she said, talk through what's going on. Well, Dr. Holloway, you have been so amazing. First, thank you for coming and letting us sit on your couch. But before we leave today, can you leave us with some final nuggets that we can use throughout the week to help us as we process not really being ready to go back to school?
Yes, pay attention to your body. So as
Mm,
I led this conversation, we were talking about anxiety. Again, those
mhm,
physical symptoms is your brain and your body throwing up red flags, letting you know to fix me. I'm not
mm,
okay.
mm.
So if you're feeling tense, if you have this overarching sense of something's not right, check in with yourself, because an empty cup can't pour from an empty cup. So if you're okay, you can help others be okay. And so pay attention to the anxiety, do some deep breathing, pick up a hobby, connect with a friend, plan. Plan can help reduce anxiety because right now so much other things are so uncertain. If you can find some consistency and find a routine somewhere, it'll help. It'll
That's
help.
good. I think I'm gonna want to touch on that in our next one, finding consistency and routine. Dr. Holloway, you have blessed me today. I know there's some people on here. If you know you have a friend who needs to hear this, I need you to tag them right now. Share it. If you're on YouTube, share it. If you're on Facebook, tag them. If you're on Instagram, share it. They need to hear this because Dr. Holloway has helped us. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Thank you so much for letting us sit on your couch, Dr. Holloway. We will be bringing you back next week. We are so excited to have you. And until next time, thank you so much for sharing with us here on Sound Mind. Don't forget to share, share, share. And until the next time, take care and take care of your sound mind.